we always looked ahead to that as like, hey, when we finally get in our home, that's when we're going to have finally enough space for our family, big enough yard for our family. We're finally going to be able to just like live free and be ourselves. And then we moved into the home and we found that we still were having the same
stress.
the same stress and the same problems. And we realized, oh my goodness, getting caught up in the routines remains even though we're in this home. And we always saw that as the point when things would end. And so we almost realized like we need to make a change to have fun. It's not a matter of just changing locations. It's we need to do something different.
Hi, I'm Monica Packer, and you're listening to About Progress, where we are about progress made practical. 3 years ago at this time, we were almost half a year into seeking some big changes to our family. You see, it had been a stressful few years, and we were all feeling quite burnt out. From the pandemic, to moving out of state, to homeschooling, to helping our special needs kids, and renovating a home, it was a lot, and I know it wasn't just us. We kind of had this misconception that once we finally moved into our house, things would get a lot easier. And we did, but things did not get easier. And that's when Brad and I realized that something had to change. And in order for us to shift away from survival as a family, we had to shift towards something else that at first glance seemed quite superficial and maybe irresponsible. And that was to prioritize fun. 2022 was sort of our year of fun. Where we intentionally sought out to have more fun as a family, and in the process, to shift our family culture. Now, 3 years later, I am so proud of how far we've come. There's, of course, still work to be done. And right now, that work includes revisiting some things and tweaking others and coming up with new ideas altogether. So the summer is bringing that up for us. How can we, again, come back home to this fun, because we know the power that the fun created in our lives to heal our relationships. Right now, maybe you are in a similar space of being in a long-standing survival mode as a family, and you are ready to leave the burnout behind and lean into doing something different. If so, can I encourage you to prioritize fun? Doing so for us was, of course, super healing, and it's still something that we are trying to as we lean into the summer months. To help you do that, I am revisiting a conversation I aired with Brad from this time, late May 2022. You will hear our honest conversation on what we needed to change as a family and why we got to that point, as well as our strategies on what we were trying to do and what was already working as we focused on fun as a family. And this is all shared not as a prescription on what you need to do, but more as an example of how you can do the same for you and your household. That's all next, but be sure to stay tuned until the end, where I will give more and updated ideas and a resource to help you craft a summer that will help you focus in on fun or creativity or connection or joy, anything that your family needs to heal from the burnout you may be going through. That's all coming up after a quick word from our sponsors. I always thought a financial planner was reserved for the wealthy people, or else it was a surefire way to get scammed with salespeople disguising themselves as advisors. For those reasons, I long discounted us from securing a financial planner. And yet, I long carried a great deal of anxiety, worrying over if we were doing okay financially, both at present and for our future, and even how to have plans in place if something were to happen to me or to Brad. Last year, we began meeting with our financial advisor, Elizabeth from Fearless Finance, and I truly wish we had started much, much sooner. As a fee-based only company, financial planners from Fearless Finance aren't going to sell you things or work off of commission. Their goal is to democratize the financial industry, empowering people with the literacy and the know-how they need to achieve more financial security. You don't need to have a certain number in your bank account. You don't need to be worried about being judged. You just show up with your questions and get the soundest advice possible on how to reach your goals, and all charged by the hour down to the quarter hour. Whether you're looking to pay off student loans, buy a house, or just want to make sure your finances are okay, they can answer your questions. No question is too small. No problem is too big. Visit fearlessfinance.com today. You can chat with a planner for free to make sure it's a good fit, and you'll get $50 off your first planning meeting when you use the code PROGRESS. Again, go to fearlessfinance.com and use the code PROGRESS. This podcast is sponsored by Go Pure Beauty. You may already know this about me, but I love skincare. I have been so hyper diligent about taking care of my face since my early 20s thanks to a great dermatologist I happened to visit at the time. But guess what I forgot about for most of those years? My neck. Did you forget too? The skin on your neck is thinner, more delicate, and less oily than facial skin, so it requires special care. That's why Go Pure Beauty developed their revolutionary Tighten and Lift Neck Cream. Powered by clinically proven active ingredients, this advanced formula is designed to visibly firm, smooth, and rejuvenate the delicate skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. I've been using the Tighten and Lift Neck Cream, and I've been loving it. The silky texture is so nice. My very sensitive skin has responded to it very well. And that's thanks to it being paraben and sulfate-free and made without harsh chemicals. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off Go Pure with code PROGRESS at checkout. And Go Pure isn't just about your neck. They have a full line of science-backed skin and body care to brighten, hydrate, and restore your glow from head to toe. From powerful vitamin C serums to deeply hydrating retinol moisturizers, every product is packed with clean, effective ingredients that deliver real results. With over 1 million jars sold, this beauty secret is no longer a secret. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off Go Pure with code PROGRESS at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com/progress, use code PROGRESS, and you're all set. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask where you heard about Go Pure, tell them it was from our show. I have a big, exciting announcement and personal invitation for you. Come to Rome with me. Is there anything better than being totally taken care of? For years, I've taught the importance of being on your own list. This is most often done in small and simple ways, but occasionally we choose to do something big and outside the norm to deeply prioritize ourselves. So what if you did that with me and in Rome, Italy? I am so overjoyed to announce that I am partnering with Female Foodie to host a tour to Rome in October of 2026. This trip will, of course, be full of great food and excellent accommodations, but most important to me, it's your opportunity to be deeply cared for. Your job is to get to Italy. Our job is everything else. Sign-ups for the tour will be this fall, September 9th, to the waiting list only, with the general public getting access the next day if there are any spots left. If you're not familiar with Female Foodie tours, know that they sell out in literal minutes. Getting a tour exclusive to just the About Progress community is all kinds of special. You can get on the waiting list to ensure your best chance of reserving those extra limited spots before they sell out by going to aboutprogress.com/Italy. This tour must be booked with 2 or more guests at a time, so get a friend or 5 committed to come with you. And by the way, if you do have more than 2 coming, please reach out to me at hello@aboutprogress.com so we can assist you with that. I am so looking forward to doing something extra special and exploring the magic of Rome with you while adding my personal touch to the signature Female Foodie tour. Again, to get on the waiting list and first dibs to our limited spots, go to aboutprogress.com/Italy. I tend to get my best ideas while I'm driving around in the passenger seat of our car, and January 1st of this year was no different. We were driving around town as a family, just trying to get out of the house. Pretty sure it was a Sunday, right? Yep. I have my companion here already nodding, but yes, it was a Sunday. We were driving around, and I get to just sit and think in the passenger seat, and that's when I had an aha. We needed to have more fun. In fact, I thought we should call our year the year of fun. YOF for short. Now, I want to back up a little bit. And even before I tell you more about what YOF is, how you can create your own, I want to tell you the deeper reasoning behind why we needed to have more fun. And it's pretty simple, actually.
our family needed a dramatic overhaul of our family culture. So to help explain this and to share what we've been up to and how it's working, the ups and downs, I invited my husband, Brad, on the show for us to have a more conversational style episode today. And this is not to be a giant humble brag because it's not like we're riding off into the sunset as a family, but this episode is just designed to be helpful. If your family is like ours and after a couple of really hard years, you're in need of some major changes just like us. Welcome, Brad, back to the show.
Thank you very much. So happy to be here in your About Progress studio. I feel like I'm the only live guest you actually get.
I think you honestly are the only live guest I've ever had.
It's an honor and a privilege.
Well, it's my honor. So we are here together to talk about our YOF, Year of Fun, but let's go back to the beginning and let's talk about what was so bad about our family's culture. So I thought I would just pose that question to you first. What was so bad about it?
I just think that we focus, or I'm speaking mostly for me here. You can...
No, you can speak for us.
I just feel like the priorities and the focus of our family were so much on schedules and on bedtime routines and on keeping the house clean. And so we were always so focused and wrapped up in those things that was the vast majority of my interactions with the children away from work was telling them what to do or trying to get them to complete a task. And, we had a somewhat small home and 6 people living there. And so it's very easy for the house to get messy. And I'm not a clean person, but I am a cleaner. And so I felt like whenever I was walking around, it was like, oh, this stuff's not put away. Hey, kid number 3, come put away this mess that you made. Or if someone was dumping out blocks, right away, we were like, oh no, we just know that's going to be a mess for them to clean up later. So I was always wrapped up in those things. And then if we were trying to figure out what to do or where to go, if we wanted to go on a little adventure, we would think, well, what about bedtime? We can't go out and have fun right now because it's already 6:30 and we should have them get in the shower. And so I was just always wrapped up in that routine. And so it just wasn't fun. It wasn't fun for me. It wasn't fun for the kids because that was what the priority and what the focus was. And I think that when Monica mentioned that, we had this epiphany on January 1st of we need to have more fun. I think if we go back a little bit, we spent, as some of your listeners may know, the bulk of COVID, we had left our home in California. We were so lucky and fortunate to be able to move in with Monica's family while we renovated a home. And we always looked ahead to that as hey, when we finally get in our home, that's when we're going to have finally enough space for our family, big enough yard for our family. We're finally going to be able to just live free and be ourselves. And then at the end of last year, we moved into the home and we found that we still were having the same
stress,
the same stress and the same problems. And it was almost hey, this isn't what we signed up for. This isn't what we were planning on getting, when we realized, oh my goodness, the getting caught up in the routines remains, even though we're in this home. And we always saw that as the point when things would end. And so we almost realized hey, the haunted house movies where someone is in a haunted house and then they move and then they think, okay, we're good. But then it's not that the house was haunted. It's that they were haunted or being followed by a demon or whatever. We're okay, our house isn't haunted. The parents are haunted. So we need to make a change to have fun. It's not a matter of just changing locations. It's we need to do something different.
Do something, wink, wink. Yeah, it's really interesting to have your perspective because I do see it's almost like the cart got put before the horse in our family in terms of just trying to always be on top of things was getting in the way of us actually having relationships and a sound family culture. And when I think culture, I just mean who we define ourselves to be as a family, the values that we live by. That's not just what we're taught, what we teach or what we talk about, but actually how we live. And it just seemed if we're going to talk about the factors at play, it was just a really, really stressful time. I don't think anyone lived outside of a shiz hit the fan lifestyle like we did too. We all experienced that in the world. And for us, it definitely felt that way. And I think the stress of what we've just been through the past couple of years, in addition to having special needs kids and trying to homeschool in the basement while both working, and all of our money going into a kitchen renovation that just kept, or not kitchen, that was years ago, a house renovation that just kept, spiraling thanks to COVID and the cost there. They were dark times. I mean, let's talk about the bigger factors too, because I think we can give ourselves more credit. Like, they were hard, dark times. And like you said, when we moved into this new house, those times didn't disappear because our kids were living that way too. Our kids were stressed. Our kids were just not living out the values that I think we'd want, or to create the relationships and the memories with each other and with us that I wanted them to remember.
And I think because we as parents were just stretched so thin, then we just did not have the energy or the enthusiasm or the desire to do fun things. So if the kids came to us and asked like about adventures we could have or doing fun things, our first thought was like, we're so tired. We don't have the energy to do that. And so we would, deny them the opportunities to have fun because we were just barely keeping it together. And I think that we look back on our own childhoods, and that was another thing that was kind of eye-opening as I thought back. I'm like, did I see my parents this stressed all the time? Was the vast majority of my interactions with them telling me like what to do and to do my chores and to clean up and to go to bed and to go to sleep? Or I remember it being more fun. I remember there being more adventures that we did or more positive interactions. And we did not want our kids to look back and have those be their core memories, is just stressful times that weren't very much fun.
Yeah. I think a good way to sum up just this whole realization for us is it was time for some healing for our family. And it was a time for an overhaul of our family culture and to just really stand by the values that we have, which for me were about connection and joy and friendship instead of stress and limited time and anxiety, and I'm sure other things. So, January 1st, it was decided year of fun. And I'm going to talk people through some of the steps we went through to create a year of fun, but essentially what it is we're just trying to have more fun together. That's really as simple as it is. And that includes within our home. It includes local adventures, simple ones. It includes more like outside of our local sphere too, but not as much of those. But I think it's been going okay so far. So let's say we're at the beginning of our 5th month into it. How would you say it's going?
Better. And I think it's because we made a determination that, hey, this is what we want to do, and it's going to require us to do things differently. We need to make a change, and so we need to go out of our way to try and have more fun. And part of that was making sure we were getting out and doing things, that we were going on walks, that we're going on hikes, that we're having little adventures. Monica's been good about planning spring break, instead of us staying at home, making sure we can go somewhere that's different and expose the kids to other areas and, make the trip a focal fun point. And I think we've kind of taken a step back on stressing out so much about the scheduling and bedtimes and routines and the cleanliness. Like, yeah, we still keep a clean house and they still are responsible for their chores and for picking up after themselves. But I'm not finding myself freaking out quite as much when, I walk in a room that has recently had a tornado go through. It's like, okay, you know what? Those Legos will get picked up at some point. I don't need to go find where they are outside, get them to come back in and clean it up, because they're having fun. And it's ultimately not that big of a deal if there's a little bit of disarray. And so I think allowing ourselves that freedom to not be 100% on top of things has been like step one in creating more fun, which seems like so basic and the bare minimum, but it's made a noticeable difference.
I think so too. I think we'll share some more like actual ideas of what we've been up to, but just my general point of view of, just our beginning of 5th month into this, I think it is making a difference. And I think we noticed it pretty soon in that we could see our kids were beginning to be have more fun together, to giggle more, to have more patience, less frustration, although those are still totally there. They have not gone away. But I have seen a difference. And to me, it's not just what I see, it's what I feel. And I think it's what our kids likely feel too. Things just don't feel as wound up tight around here. And I can begin to see some of those friendships forming better in ways I was so hopeful to see. Anything you would add to that before we share some ideas of what we've been doing? And then I'll share more of a process for them to use as well.
Well, I guess I'd be kind of commenting on both of those things. Is I feel like part of it has just been saying yes more. And what's funny is that the Johnson Files are my favorite follow. Sean just interviewed his mom on Insta stories and posted it like a day or two ago and asked her for one of her parenting advices. And she said one of the main things is just to say yes more, which I thought was really interesting, is that, just part of it was giving kids freedom. And part of it is that, when you're saying no less often, when you do say no, it is, your kids will know it's for a good reason. And so, like last night, as an example, is bedtime really hard for everyone else, or is it just us? But we feel like each one of our kids goes through phases where they just don't go to sleep right away, and they find reasons for getting out of bed. Reference to the Johnson Files again for that video where they show the kids coming up with all the reasons they're not going to sleep yet. And it's tough because Monica and I, we do a lot of our work at night, and so the bedtime routine is important so we can get some of our stuff done. And so last night, our youngest, who is really bad right now about staying in bed.
He's always been bad. He's our worst sleeper.
But he's such a charmer that when he comes up with these dumb reasons, you can't help but kind of smile and be like, oh, he's so cute, instead of like, oh, buddy, just go to sleep. So he comes up last night an hour after he'd gotten in bed, and he'd already come up a handful of times. And he said, hey, Dad, I'm scared. Will you come play the guitar? And I think that outside of the year of fun, I would have been like, no way, because bedtime was an hour ago, bud, and I know that this is going to keep you up. But year of fun, and I just heard that video with the counsel to say yes. So I'm like, okay, fine. I will go get my guitar. I will go downstairs, and this will be a fun experience. And I had been playing just for a minute when, I was playing for the room where our two youngest boys share and have a bunk bed. And within a minute, our oldest boy came from his room because he wanted to sit in and be a part of things, and only played and sang like 2 or 3 songs for them, and they sang along, and our boy that plays drums was like drumming on the bed and on the post. And as I left, like, everyone was happy. It was fun. It was a good experience. I get upstairs, and our daughter, who is on a whole different floor, was telling me that she heard and that she was singing along to the songs that we were playing. And I just thought, wow, that's the year of fun. That's what saying yes does. But then the drawback,
keep going,
is that it completely set this little dude off, and he kept on coming up with reasons to come upstairs. It did not help him calm down and go to sleep.
Well, that's also because he'd accidentally taken an earlier nap. So that's what happens for that. So let's give ourselves grace. I feel like, speaking of grace, let's just acknowledge it was a couple years of survival. And we were ready to move past it into healing. And I will say, regardless of where your family is on that spectrum of survival / healing or fun, whatever it is, I hope this can just give you a little hope that the small things you do really do matter, because we do see the difference. Next up, we'll share some of our ideas on what we've been doing, and on top of playing the guitar when requested, as well as some tips we have on what you can do to create your own summer or fall or 6 months or year of whatever it is that your family needs to overhaul your own family culture. But first, a quick word from our sponsors.
My love of having cleaner indoor air must be something you all know about me by now, because one of my most common questions that comes in on my direct messages is, what's that air purifier again? Well, it's Air Doctor, the award-winning air purifier that eliminates 99.99% of dangerous contaminants like allergens, viruses, smoke, gases, mold spores, and more. Americans spend an average of 90% of their time indoors. But did you know that indoor air can be up to 100 times more polluted than outdoor air? We know it in the Packer household because one of our kids happens to have pretty bad indoor allergies, and our new doctor was relieved to hear that we already have an air purifier in our home. Unlike other purifiers, Air Doctor captures invisible particles 100 times smaller than standard HEPA filters, making the Packer household very happy customers. I recently burned something in my oven, and I was so happy to see that my Air Doctor kicked right into high gear automatically all on its own because it could sense that something was a little bit off in our main area. You can experience the joy of Air Doctor and breathe cleaner. Just head to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code Monica to get up to $300 off today. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee plus a 3-year warranty and $84 value free. Get this exclusive podcast-only offer now at airdoctorpro.com. That's airdoctorpro.com using promo code Monica. For years, I have been teaching women how to do habits differently. I have been so grateful to see the concepts that have changed the most for you with responses from women of our community, like you are changing the habit game for all of us. And this is so needed, and you should write a book on this. Well, guess what? I am, and I'm so eager for you to get your hands on it, hopefully sometime in 2026. And since I can't share the title yet, and also since I may end up self-publishing, I need a committee of gal pals, if you will, like you, who are ready to be my early test readers, to pre-order the book, and to act as grassroots publicists the moment each of those steps are made ready. Would you like to be on that book launch committee? Get on the free list by going to aboutprogress.com/book committee. Even if you just want to be the first in the know with any book news, that's where you sign up. Again, go to aboutprogress.com/book committee. It's in the show notes for you. I can't wait to share as much as I can with you along the way, and I am already so grateful for your support. One of the ways I'm filling my cup is returning more to my teaching roots and offering affordable online workshops to this community on very niche topics that I know you both want and need. I recently did the How to Dream Again workshop, helping women gain clarity on what more they want in their lives. And coming up, I'll be teaching the Best Summer Ever workshop, practically guiding women to craft a summer for the scrapbooks. More online workshops are coming, but you can get information on and access to these workshops and the replays by going to aboutprogress.com/workshops. For just $17, you can invest some time and thought into making progress in your life and in ways per usual to this community that are both deep and practical. Again, check out what's available by going to aboutprogress.com/workshops, and workshops is plural.
Okay, we're back. So let's talk about just some general things we've been doing. Let's start small and kind of zoom out, and that will be relevant to the tips we give too. I think one of the things we first started to do was to just play Uno. Just playing Uno most days, somehow, some way, and Brad was really good about doing that. We said maybe, what was it called? Like after dinner fun or family fun time?
Yeah, just any sort of activity which would get us together doing something, interacting. That
after
would
dinner.
be fun, yeah.
After dinner, and they got ready for bed. So Uno, we bought other games. I went and bought a ton of cooperative games that our therapist recommended. Some of my kids see an amazing counselor. So we got some of her games that she uses with them, like Gnomes at Night. It's like a really cooperative game. So games, what else? Let's start small.
Little things like, I mean, our kids love music, and so they have been able to create their own Spotify playlist where we, let them loose and they can pick the songs they want, and then that's what we'll listen to in the car when we're going for a longer drive or heading up to the in-laws for dinner. They get to listen to their playlist, and then they get excited when it's each kid, when the songs they've chosen have popped up and they're interested to see what everyone else has chosen. Something really small, but it's been fun.
Also, just little things like going on a walk each Sunday, which has been nice. We already talked about family fun time lip syncs. For some reason, our kids like that. We haven't done that one in a while, though. Any other ideas kind of more like easy to low hanging fruit? Say yes.
Yeah, I mean, say yes. I think just allowing ourselves to kind of be silly.
Family Friday movie night with popcorn. I mean, these are things like we had been doing here and there, but very inconsistently. So a lot of this was like bringing things back that we knew we liked as a family.
This is dumb, but lately, Monica and I sent each other Instagram reels or little videos that we find funny. And I noticed that, I mean, just one day I was looking through the messages of everything that I'd sent Monica, and then I think one of the kids like peered over my shoulder, and then we basically learned that they just giggle nonstop if we go through 4 or 5 of these videos we've shared back and forth of various
like family-friendly reels.
Funny things. And so now one of the things they'll ask for is like, hey, Mom, Dad, pull up this particular video, and we'll pull it up from the message stream of what we sent back and forth. And then they just giggle and cackle and think it's so funny. And it's just uplifting for them just to be able to laugh and see something like wholesome and funny and silly. But there's connectivity in that in that we all are watching and laughing at it together, and it almost becomes a little bit of an inside joke where we all know what that video is and we can reference it, and they giggle.
Yeah, they do love that. And I think just overall, it's just trying to find the moments where we can just be more present and actually together. You know, phones are put away, books are put away. We're just spending even just a few minutes with our full attention. One of our favorite traditions is at dinner, we do good thing, hard thing. And again, we did this before the pandemic, slipped off while we were not living in our own home. And to bring that back and actually have dinner together around the table, and just hear one good thing that happened that day and one hard thing has been really great too. So now zooming out to some other things, it's just like adventures. It's just still simple, going to a park. What other things have we done? We've gone to the local rec center to swim on a Saturday as a family. What else can you remember?
I think it's also what we're not doing, and it's just trying not to stress over the little things.
Yeah. Picnics. We've gone up to the Capitol. We're trying to like do just more local things.
Yeah, I mean, we're still relatively new to Salt Lake, and so just going on drives. And one thing we like doing is like pointing out on a street like which house we like the most, and the kids will do that too. And even when we are like silently driving, the 4-year-old randomly will say like, that's the house I like, or that's my house.
Yeah. And they usually have like an ice cream cone from McDonald's in hand too. So yeah, local things like that, just finding ways to get out there. One of our weird things on our year of fun was actually doing more extracurricular activities, which actually doesn't sound fun, but it has been. Our kids have been out of that world. So now we are in the busy season of, even just 2 kids doing a couple sports, but we can see how fun it is for them to do, but also for us to be there as a family supporting them has also helped with the culture part. Like we are people, we are a family who cheer each other on. We are there for each other. We support each other. And then we also have like bigger things. We went to St. George, and we have some other things on our list that we would like to do this year. Like, I don't know, one of the kids said they want to go to a national park, by the way, which made me really happy. So
they've been
stuff like
successfully brainwashed.
Yeah. We're not doing too much out of town. I mean, we're still kind of recovering from this renovation, but I think this is probably the biggest takeaway is it really is small. It can be affordable. It doesn't have to take too much time. So, okay. Anything to add there in terms of ideas before I share some tips?
No, not from me right now.
Okay, we'll share some highs and lows too in a moment, or like what's one of your favorite things we've done. So keep that in mind while I kind of share some tips here, and then we're going to hear some of Brad's highs and my highs as well. Like what have been our favorite things we've done so far, our favorite memory. Okay, if you are ready to overhaul your family culture, you don't have to do a year of fun, but you can do these kind of tips to help you create your own plan and path to overhaul your culture. And the first step is to get real about where your culture is right now. Get real about what happened. Why is that the case? Like maybe you're in survival mode like we were. Maybe someone had health problems or mental health problems, or maybe just life got so busy or you kind of drifted away. Just to get real about that. Also to get real about what feelings are missing in your family right now. That was one, it sounded like I was getting emotional. It was just more like I was having like an allergy attack.
You're having a moment here.
Like what feelings are you missing? That's a great place to start. We were missing fun. That's why we decided the year of fun. But maybe other years we'd be like missing, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what other things can go in there. Spirituality maybe, or silliness. You get to decide. So what kind of feelings are missing? And then think about what kind of family culture do you want to have? And I shared a few times how to me that was pretty value centric. So you can get clear on that. As a family, what kind of culture do we want to have? What values do we care about? What do we want to be known for? But also how do we want to feel as a family? The next step I have for you after getting real is to decide on a sort of theme. Whether it's for a summer or a fall or a few month period, or even for a whole year. You can do this mid-year, by the way. It doesn't have to be January. You don't have to wait till January. What's a kind of theme you can have and decide as a family that is related to the get real part? After that, the next step I have for you, and the next three are the last three also, but they also go back to some main tools that I use in this community and in my coaching. And this first tool is to cast a vision. And this is where I would advise you to conduct a shoot for the stars kind of brainstorm with all the family members on what you can do to meet your theme and to rebuild your culture. And our brainstorm was pretty intense. I mean, we had things like Brad and I were going to go to New York. We were going to go to Yellowstone. We were going to go to Disneyland. We were going to go all these big places. And most of those things are now off our list, which is okay because we're having sprinklers put in instead. But it was nice to shoot for the stars. And doing that, and I just did it with my kids for the summer plans, as I was able to hear more of what they're intrigued by. And most of it is just small stuff we can do around here. Like one of our kids wants to have a barbecue night with friends. And I thought that was awesome. While another kid wanted to go back and visit California. So it was just nice to hear what was important to them. So you cast a vision with a shoot for the stars brainstorm. Then after that, I want you to zoom out in terms of narrowing down a real plan. And this is still a bigger picture plan about some big things that you would like to do, some kind of bonding events. And this can still be local. Like maybe you want to go to a certain splash pad, or maybe you want to attend a certain play. Oh, that was one of the things we did. We went to like the family symphony day. That was so fun. At least it was for me. So it can be things like that. What are some bonding events that you would like to put on a calendar? So after you zoom out with some bigger bonding events, then zoom in to where you are as a family and how you can settle in on some realistic and regular rituals, habits, and traditions that you can install that will help that culture shift. So I'm going to review those. Get real, decide on a theme, cast a vision, zoom out with some big picture bonding events, and then zoom in to some ways that you can start right here, right now, in an easy, more regular way. Okay, that was a lot. So let's end on some highlights for them. Do you have any that come to mind? I can see that you were writing a few things there.
Well, a couple of them we already mentioned. One was, we're not used to the winter being, so cold. And so we went indoor swimming at the local rec center a couple of times. And that was unusual to say, like, hey, put on your swimsuits. It's 30 degrees, but we're going to go jump in a pool. And the kids loved that. And it was something we were able to do only for like an hour or so, but they had fun. And there was
never have to go long. That's my thing. It's like an hour is awesome. We'll be happy with an hour.
I think giving ourselves the grace to know that, the length doesn't make the event. You do it as long as it is productive and people are having fun, and then you pull the plug as soon as you're ready to move on. And so that was not something we'd normally do, and it was fun for the kids. And then just anything that gets you out of the house. Like they finished installing a skate park just a mile or so from us. And so a handful of times I've grabbed the kids and we just drive and park there and watch all these young kids try skating, and it's been really fun for them to see that. It's small, it's simple, but it's us getting out of the house. The kids have been talking about wanting to do a camp out, and it still is probably too cold to camp outside overnight for us right now, or not for normal people, but our kids get cold really easily. So we set up the tent in the basement and then pulled out a couple sleeping bags, and all 4 kids slept in there overnight and had a reading party, and they loved that, and it was fun.
3 out of the 4 wet the sleeping bags, but you win some, you lose some.
Small and simple. And then the last thing I'd add is we try and feed into whatever our kids are passionate about. And for our family, it's Star Wars. And I guess really, where does that passion stem from? It's us brainwashing them
it's
into...
you. I did not get into Star Wars growing up. I love it.
Into liking Star Wars. And so the Book of Boba Fett was on Disney Plus, and episodes came out every week, and the kids loved it. And so a lot of our fun was enveloped in watching the episodes together, and then we'd talk about it through the week, and we'd guess what was going to happen next, and then they would get all excited when it was, hey, new episode, let's watch Book of Boba Fett. Something small, but it was something they cared about, something Dad cares about, and so it became a fun family bonding experience. And there's got to be things that your own kids, if you have them, are passionate about that you could feed into. And I don't know, like when there was something I loved when I was a kid and my parents supported me in that, or they faked liking it as well, it made me feel good.
I am really excited about this summer. And, coincidentally, I mentioned this a little bit. I alluded to it that my kids and I took some time to brainstorm tonight. I let Brad hurry and sneak away to the gym so we could record. But he and I had already brainstormed a few things together too. I'm excited for the summer because we were able to do that together. We were able to do our Shoot for the Stars part. And it is kind of a good way for me to recommit to the year of fun, because even though I think we were doing pretty well with being very intentional, we kind of drifted away from the intentionality piece, and I think we're ready to do that again. So I'm going to share a little do something challenge for people today, and it's to just do one small thing that you can start with your family, like a small tradition. For me, maybe I would suggest do Uno, like get some Uno cards, or maybe a movie night on Fridays, or popcorn on Saturdays, or a Sunday walk. One small tradition that you can put in place for your family. And my own commitment, and I'm just going to report in here, is to do more of the family fun time after dinner, because that's when I do need to work at night. And so I'm tired already, and I have that urgency of like, I have an hour to work and I need to get this stuff done after they go to bed. So there's kind of a little bit of that, like, let's do this, let's get them to bed. But I would like to just spend even 5 minutes doing some family fun time. What about you, Brad? Any one place you would suggest they start, or one small tradition that you would advise?
I was going to say just kind of what we had already mentioned earlier, like go back to your kids, go back to your spouse, and find out what they enjoy doing, what they're passionate about, what they want to do, and then find ways to plan around that. Find ways to incorporate that into, big adventures and small adventures, nightly routines, or bigger things.
Love that advice. So that's it for our kind of accountability podcast episode on this. But also, I hope what it can do is to help you feel like you're not so alone if your family is struggling with how you're feeling, how you're functioning, and to also give you a different sort of pathway to restore it and to heal it. And we're on our way. We still have work to do, that's for sure. Maybe we'll do another kind of report in, I don't know, in the fall sometime to share how things are going that way. But I'm grateful that we've been able to have this healing so far, and I'm excited for what can come. And I'm excited that you were able to be part of this episode, Brad, and along the ride too. So thanks for being here.
And of course, thanks for having me on.
I hope this episode gave you the hug and kick in the pants you need to grow. I'll now share the progress pointers. These are the notes I took so you don't have to. And those on my newsletter get them in a graphic form each week. You can sign up at aboutprogress.com/newsletter. And just another reminder that the progress pointers I share on the episode will be a little bit shorter than the actual progress pointers, which will be a little bit more meaty if that's your thing. Number 1, start by getting real. If you need to shift your family culture, get some clarity on where you currently are at. Awareness is the first step to change. Number 2, fun isn't optional, it's essential. Number 3, little things add up. Regular, simple moments can shift your family culture in powerful ways. Number 4, let go of perfection. It's okay if things don't go according to plan or if things are a little bit messier. The goal is more connection. And number 5, make healing a family project. Don't do it alone. Invite your children and your partner into the process to create a culture of fun that reflects everyone's voices. Again, you can get the progress pointers at aboutprogress.com/newsletter. I told you that I was going to give you a quick little update on some more ideas. They include watching movies together. We are currently on the 3rd movie in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and enjoying it so much. Something like that is so simple but so enjoyable and creates a tradition too. Another tradition we've had as a family to prioritize fun is when we move into a season like summer or fall or around winter time, we create a bucket list of fun things that we want to do together. We write it down. It's not fancy. I hang it up on the wall that leads to our family basement. It's kind of our family zone of like getting organized. And we just gradually check things off throughout the season. Other traditions have included family pizza nights or inviting people over for dessert or dinner or popsicles. We love to go to local things like this harvest festival called Crossy Ranch for those who are local to Utah, but something more taking advantage of the local festivals or cultural events going on are really fun. Another thing I'd highly recommend is the Get Out Pass. I have a coupon code. If you want that, just email me and I'll send it to you. I pay for this and it is undeniably my kids' favorite thing, especially during the summer. We go to amusement parks, to indoor trampoline centers and roller skating, and we get into so many things all for free because of the Get Out Pass. Then there's other simple things like my kids said they love to just play outside with their friends in the sprinklers. Just having that free time outside has been so rewarding and helpful. Also, we like to take it outside on Tuesdays in the summer. We can go on hikes or walks, and I always love to have a little treat or reward at the end, even if that's we watch a show together after we get home or we get ice cream or something else like that. And my kids also said they love swimming. So those are just a few more ideas. And I have many more, and they're actually all in a printable form for you to create a summer of fun. And that's all included as part of my workshop that is now available for you at aboutprogress.com/summer workshop, where you can sign up for the best summer ever workshop, where I help you craft a summer for the scrapbooks. That's where you can get more clarity on how you want to feel as a family and literal plans on how to do so, including the printables, which have routines and kitchen rules and snacks that they can have and a place for you to brainstorm certain ideas. So it's all there for you, again, at aboutprogress.com/summer workshops. This podcast is listener supported. Members of the Supporters Club make my work with About Progress free and available to all. They also get access to 3 levels of exclusive benefits from more time to more content with me. About Progress would not be possible without supporters. Please consider being one by going to aboutprogress.com/support. Remember, you can always support the show for free. A simple way you can do that today is make sure you leave a rating and review on the podcast app you're listening on. And to go the extra mile, subscribe to us on YouTube and watch the show there. Thank you so much for listening. Now go and do something with what you learned today.